I've bulked and went through a cut 3 times by now, and every time I cut, my pull-ups get stronger. Last year, while bulking, I didn't increase my pull-up strength considerably. In a period of 5 to 6 months of bulk, I gained 14 kgs and I added around 3 kgs to my 1 rep max. So maintaining my pull-ups was a win because since I was carrying more total weight. And I did a 4-month cut, losing fat slowly, and by the end of the cut, I added 15 kgs to my 1 rep max in competition. So basically 15 kgs in 1 year, which is pretty good. And before focusing on street lifting, I also saw some gains, but not as much as when I decided to up my 1 rep max in the pull-ups. So the secret sauce is gaining weight plus a good programming, and then lose the extra fat. But the important thing here is to gain fat little by little and not go to extremes. Because if you gain weight pretty fast, you will not let your body adapt and you will also gain mostly fat. Meanwhile, if you gain weight slowly, you'll let your body adapt to the weight gain, you will minimize the fat gain and you'll maximize the muscle gain. This will allow you to maintain your pull-up strength while gaining weight or increase it little by little. When it comes to training program, things have to be in check. This is the reason why in the past I didn't make much progress. My training was not the best. I wasn't structuring my workout well. I didn't know how to progress the load, adjust the difficulty. I wasn't writing down my reps or RPE and all of that stuff. And that's why progress was not the best. So let me give you an example on how you can make this work. First, the bulk. You should progressively gain weight in a span of 4 to 5 months, a maximum of 7 to 8 kgs, and maintain it for some time till you start having trouble progressing or you see no progress for 3 weeks. Then you can start the cut. Don't go aggressive, lose like 2 kgs in a month till you reach your peak performance weight. Me right now, I'm 96 kgs and my peak performance weight is around 90. When it comes to training, you must have a good training plan, which the main exercise is the pull-ups, obviously, and some accessories that will help you with the pull-ups. In this case, an horizontal pulling movement is good, but you can only do pull-ups for me that work it perfectly. And you will have to find the sweet spot for you when it comes to volume. I did pull-ups 3 times a week with 1 day of rest in between and 2 days of rest before the next week session. The volume was high, between 9 to 12 weekly sets with loads from 70% to 85%. Maybe for you will be less or the same volume. I don't know, you have to check it out. But 9 weekly sets is enough. A heavy day, a low day, and a medium heavy day. If you do this for the whole bulk and then you cut, you will see your pull-up strength explode. Mistakes intermediates make in strength training. The first thing that we have here is more is better mentality. And this is totally wrong with strength training, and I will explain it right now. So, achieving failure and doing more than is in the plan. The problem trying to achieve failure and doing more and more is not the best for strength gains. Strength training is different from sports like football or basketball, where the more you kick the ball, the more you shoot free throws, the better you will get. In strength training, it's a different thing. If you do more, you just will end up injured, you'll fry your nervous system, and your progress will go down. Another thing is not doing what is in the plan. If your coach is putting something in the plan, it has a reason. So, not following what is on the plan can affect your training for the rest of the week and the next week. As a beginner or intermediate, it may not affect you that much, but if you're an advanced athlete and you do this, you do more than is on the plan, for example, RPE 7,
6 reps. And you do 10 reps, RPE 10. This will affect your next session and even your next week of training, and this can mess up your whole plan. And this also applies to intermediates. Intermediates and beginners sometimes get excited and they do more than they should. This has happened with my clients. Sometimes they get excited, they feel strong, and they do more than they should. And the next session, and they get to a state of fatigue pretty fast. And this is not optimal for strength training. You don't want to achieve fatigue too fast. If you're getting super fatigued in the first 4 weeks of training, probably you're doing too much and something is wrong with your plan. So trying to follow your coach plan, not trying to achieve failure in every session, is something that you should avoid. For strength gains to be the best, you cannot train to failure. Actually, you rarely do it. Me, when I'm training for strength, I never achieve failure. The only time I achieve failure is when I'm doing a picking and I'm testing my 1 rep maxes. And this only happens probably once a year. In the rest of the year, I never try my 1 rep max and I never try to go to failure. But this will depend. Here, let me explain why. You will have a high rep phase. In this phase, you want to push more to the limit, RPE 7 to 10. And why? Build more work capacity, more hypertrophy, getting your body used to high intensity and correct weak links. This is more like a bodybuilding phase where you do a bit more exercises, you do more reps for these things I've mentioned, which can be beneficial later on for strength gains. By building more work capacity means that you can handle more volume, more hypertrophy, which can later transmute to more strength, getting your body used to high intensity. This will allow you to handle more volume and do more, which is important for strength training. And correct weak links. You do more reps, you do extra exercises like isolation to correct weak links. That could be triceps, biceps, lats, quads, and so on. And then you have low rep phases. In this phase, you want to be far from failure, RPE 6 to 8. And why? This is basically the strength phase. Gives CNS enough stimulus to get stronger without frying it, more volume and frequency. For you to get as strong as possible, you want to give your CNS enough stimulus that it can become stronger and adapt without frying it. If you fry your nervous system, you will affect not only your training, but other areas of your life. And I talk this because of experience. When you fry your nervous system, you will have brain fog, you will have problems sleeping, you will be irritating very easily. And this can affect other areas of your life. This is not like bodybuilding where the more you do, the more failure you achieve, probably the more muscle growth you'll have. For strength training, the goal is not to build muscle. You will build muscle by doing 5 to 6 rep ranges, RPE 8, but the goal is not to get as jacked as possible. And bodybuilding training does not have a big of an impact on your nervous system compared to straight lifting or powerlifting. And volume and frequency is important for you to get stronger. The more volume you can handle, the better it is, the stronger you will get. But this doesn't mean achieving failure. Doing more work does not mean achieving failure. Frequency, the more you do the movement, for example, you do it 3 to 4 times a week. The more you do it, the better you will get at it. And strength is also a skill. So the more you do it, the more you learn it, the better you get. And then this is how you get stronger. I'm gonna give you a quick example here. By the way, if you have trouble progressing with your street lifting movements, even powerlifting movements, you don't have a good structure, you don't have a strategy for you to make progress, get healthier, become stronger, you can schedule a call down below and we'll see if I can help you and we can work together. But if not, you can go to my school community. You'll have there free training programs from street lifting, calisthenics, and hybrid training. How things work. So you have a strength curve here and time curve. This is 3-month, 6th-month, 9th-month, and 12th-month. So the first example will be this person who has the mentality of more is better. They think that doing more exercises, doing more reps, more sets is better. As a beginner, what is going to happen is you will make progress. As a beginner, whatever you do, you will make progress. You recover faster, you will make progress faster. So your progress will be like this. In 3rd month, you made a lot of progress, but then fatigue start catching up and you are forced to do a deload, and you'll do a deload and then you'll rebuild it back, but you have this mentality of doing more. You'll make some progress, but then you'll go down and you'll be in this zigzag for basically a year. And then eventually what can happen is you get injured because you're doing too much. Your body cannot handle that much stress and your joints are all messed up due to the overtraining that you're doing. You injure yourself and then you rebuild it back. You go up, you gotta be a bit stronger, and then deload again because your body is fried. And what can happen with a lot of people is they eventually give up because it's too much and they don't make progress. And let's say in a year you're doing this and you're doing the same mistakes, more is better mentality, and then by the end of the year you made a small progress. All the progress that you made was basically in the beginning, and then you had some peaks here which didn't make much of a difference. And this is a big mistake that intermediates do, and even beginners. And now a second example. This is a guy that knows that more is not better and that follows what I've said here. So he'll start with a strength training phase, with a strength phase. He's gonna make some progress, 3 months, okay, and then he sees that the progress is not that smooth anymore. He's not making that much of progress. So it will get stuck for a bit, and then he says, okay, now probably I need a deload and do a high rep phase that will help me have more work capacity, more hypertrophy, all of these little things that will help me later. He does a deload and then he does this phase. He goes up, start making progress, and in the beginning he does not see the progress that he's making with the high reps in the low rep range, and this is normal. But I believe that if you get stronger at the 8 to 10 rep maxes, your 1 rep max, 3 rep max will increase. So he's gonna do this for long periods of time. Build more work capacity, get stronger at the 8 to 10 rep range, work on the weak links, all of this. He's making progress, but he doesn't see it directly applying to the low rep range. And he's still going. And then let's say he has a competition in month 12. And then what he's gonna do is he's gonna make the progress there, and in month 9 he's gonna start, okay, I need to stop and change to low rep range because I have to prep my body to the lower rep range and for the competition because I will do 1 rep maxes. And then he's gonna do a deload, change the training a bit, and what is gonna happen in the beginning is your loads will decrease and you'll be a bit out of place per se because you're changing things. You'll have to start with lower weight and build it back. And then what's gonna happen is this goes down and then it rapidly goes up. Goes up. You have a taper closer to the competition. You lower the weights, and then in the competition day, what is gonna happen is this: it's gonna boom, it's gonna explode. Your 1 rep maxes will be crazy. And as you can see, there's a big difference between the second guy and the first guy. The second guy applied everything I said here, and the first guy had this more is better mentality, which does not work well with strength training. Another important thing is more exercises Overcomplicating with too many exercises more is not best. For strength training, it may be the opposite. For strength training, you want to be as simple as possible. You want to simplify things as much as possible. Too many exercises doesn't mean more growth or progress. Simplicity wins, complexity fails with strength training. This is something I believe. Then what you should do? First of all, you need to know your SFR, goals, and needs. SFR is stimulus to fatigue ratio. What are your goals? Make it clear so you can pick the best exercises for you. These exercises that you're gonna pick are basically what you're gonna do in the low rep phase and the high rep phase, mainly in the high rep phase. Usually you kind of know what are the movements that you want to get stronger at for the lower rep phases. For example, you do powerlifting, you already know what you're doing. You're doing street lifting, you already know what are the movements that you should be doing. But this applies more to a higher rep phase. You need to know the best stimulus to fatigue ratio in your case, what you need, speed training that you need, strength, technique, work capacity, weak links. You have to know these little things that will help you later on. I like to see things in the long term. And this is something that everyone should do. And this will allow you to choose the best exercises. Stimulus to fatigue ratio is kind of like this. For each point of fatigue, how much of a stimulus you can get from this exercise. An example would be dips for chest growth versus explosive pull-ups. For each point of fatigue on the dips, you get, for example, 5 points of stimulus. And clap push-ups, explosive push-ups. For each point of fatigue, you get 2 points of stimulus. So probably dips is better to grow your muscle, your pecs, than doing explosive push-ups. And then you have to see, is your speed that needs work, strength, technique, all of these things I've said. And this will help you a ton. And then, power through everything. This is another mistake that beginners, even intermediates, do. The first thing is neglecting technique. Not spending time with technique. Work will cost you later on. Technique should be your main focus in the beginning. By focusing on technique, you will win in the long run. Less injuries, faster progress, even if it means dropping weight. Now, this is something that I do every single day of the week. I'd rather trade 10, 20 kgs in my squat or any other movement and learn the technique properly, because this in a 6-month period, 1 year, 3 years, it will make a big difference because I will have less injuries, my progress will be smoother, and I'll be more confident in the movement. This is something I've noticed with the squat. A lot of people are scared to put weight on the squat, are scared to try 1 rep maxes, are scared to miss the squat because they're not comfortable with their technique. I'm never scared of the weight when I'm doing back squats because I'm confident with my technique. I know that if I miss, I'm not gonna get the bar over my neck or whatever it is, or I'll get injured because I'm confident in my technique, because I took a lot of weight in the bar and I started rebuilding my squat back, and now I have a beautiful technique for a person with my size. I'm 6'2", 1 m 88 centimeters, which is a tall person, and I have long legs. And most people with my size can barely do a squat, and I have a really, really good squat because of this. So focusing on technique should be your priority because it will help you in the long run. Another thing is not addressing weaknesses. Knowing your weaknesses will help you progress faster and break through plateaus. You are as strong as your weakest link. So knowing what is your weak link and addressing it is a must for progress. And the problem is that beginners and intermediates don't see these little things. Yes, beginners and intermediates don't see these little things that makes a huge difference in the long run. They have this mentality, like I said, power through everything. I just need to do more. I just have to push. I just need to basically power through that thing, the movement. And this can cost you a lot with injuries and not progressing, hitting plateaus, and giving you this frustration that I'm not progressing. I've been through that a couple of years ago. I could not progress in my pull-ups and was getting frustrated because I didn't know these little things and how this can affect you. Well, I'll give you a quick example here, like I did in the previous one. So you have the strength curve, the beginner, intermediate, advanced, 6 months, 1 year, 3 years, 4 years. So I'm gonna give the first example is the person who has this mentality of power through everything and he neglects technique and is not addressing to its weaknesses. So you start as a beginner. As a beginner, whatever you do, you'll make progress. In the first 6 months, you make progress, and then your progress kind of slows down because your technique is kind of off. But the more you do it, you'll get better at it. You may injure sometimes around here, may get hurt, but you'll still make some progress. And then eventually you'll become an intermediate. Your strength level is already an intermediate. And you got here because as a beginner intermediate, you progress very fast, even though you're not addressing your weaknesses, even though your technique is bad. And then when you get to the intermediate level, things start to get a bit more sketchy, a bit harder. You'll see that your progress was not as fast, and you're not addressing your technique or the weaknesses. You're gonna be stuck, go up, go down, get a bit stronger, get stuck for long periods of time, get a bit stronger, go down, get stuck, get frustrated, go down, go up, get a bit stronger, and this is gonna be your life forever, basically. You're almost 3 years in and your level is intermediate, a bit more than intermediate in 3 years, which is a lot. And this is because your body, you get to a point where if your technique is not great, it will be hard to lift more weight. If you're not addressing your weaknesses, you will fail. You will not have this break in the plateaus. And this guy is doing the same mistakes as the guys that I explained here. Not doing the high rep phase, low rep phase, and have this mentality more is better. It's gonna happen the same thing. And you'll be years and years and years and years and years playing around here in the intermediate area. And now, the guy who dropped the weight and focused on technique, addressing his weaknesses, applying everything that I've said before. What is gonna happen is, in the first 6 months, his progress will be good. He'll keep making progress, and he gets into intermediate. Okay, he gets to intermediate level in 1 year. And then he sees that, okay, I'm not progressing, maybe I should drop the weight and rebuild my squat or whatever it is back. Addressing my weaknesses, applying everything. What's gonna happen in the beginning is you're gonna drop the weight and then you're gonna go up. You're refining your technique every week. It's getting better. You put in more weight. You've addressed into your weaknesses. Okay, I cannot lock out in the bench press. Maybe some extra work in my triceps will help me. You do that and then you see, oh, my bench press got better. And you keep going. Of course, you'll have times where it goes down, and then you keep going, and finally you get to advanced level. It can be 3 years, 2 years. This will depend how soon you address these things, your genetics, if you have a good coach. All of these things applies to this. And the lesson here is address your weaknesses, study well, refine your technique. Technique is very important for you to make progress. And now, the final part, randomizing everything. This is something that beginners and intermediates make. They randomize everything from diet to their training to their recovery. Random training programs. This is something that beginners do. They just do whatever. They switch up their plans every week. They do not they cannot follow a plan. They do not know how many reps, how many sets they should be doing. They don't have periodization parts. They don't have periodization, and all of these things will make your results random. Random training equals random results. Not following a plan, neglecting periodization, not knowing the reps and the load that you did and should do are a big mistake. Writing down everything you did is so important for you to make progress. How many reps, the weight, the sets, and to see next week how you can progress, what was something that you had problems and how you can fix it to progress more, and so on. And random recovery and diet, not taking recovery seriously, lack of sleep, not taking low days or deload seriously, under eating, low protein, dehydration will affect your progress. Mainly, this is a good mistake I've seen, is not taking low days or deload seriously. This is very important for you to recover and keep making progress. You should not be doing super high volume, big weights, RPE 8, 9, or whatever every session. This will fry your nervous system pretty fast, and it will make you get stuck being super fatigued, and you have to lower the weight, and you'll be in this snowball effect forever, not progressing because you're not taking your rest day seriously, you're not taking the deload seriously or the low day seriously. And all of these other things also plays a big role. When I have a bad day of sleep, my performance suffers. Dehydration, under eating, low protein, all of these things will make your training suffer. And then this causes inconsistency and never getting to your true potential. You can make progress as a beginner, as an intermediate, but it will take you so far. Yes, as a beginner or intermediate, whatever you do, you may not rest properly, you may not eat well, and you'll make some progress. But it gets to a point where you're intermediate and you will not see progress. And I've seen this a lot of times, even with my clients. They have this problem. They tell me, I've been stuck here for 6 months, a year, and I check their plans. They don't know what they're doing. Their diet sucks. They don't have a structured program. They're neglecting all these things, which does not let them progress. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about shock method and how this method can help you increase your powerlifting or street lifting lifts, okay? So what is it? It is a high intensity approach that forces rapid adaptation that helps with increasing strength and breaking plateaus. And it was developed by this man, Yuri Verkhoshansky, if I spell it right. And now, the first method is heavy negatives. So basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna load 110 to 120% of your 1 rep max, lower slowly for 3 to 6 seconds, have a spotter, use bands, or have a box to return to the top position. Do 4 to 5 sets for 3 reps. This builds tendon strength and neural drive fast. So, an example with the pull-ups. You start here in the lockout position, you slowly go down till you fully lock. You get the box up in the box again, and then you start here again, and you do it. A simple way to do it. Or in the dips, you start here. You start here, lock out, and you slowly go down, go up in the box, and do it again with the bench. Could be slowly go down. I'll have a spotter helping you get the back up, and do it again. Well, this will build a lot of tendon strength, which is important for carrying as much weight as possible to lift as much as possible. I made a video on tendon. I'll link it here after this video so you can watch it. And neural drive. Yes, by doing heavy loads, you're recruiting a lot of motor units. So this will give you a good adaptation, will help you recruit more neurons so you can lift more. Tendon and your nervous system plays a big role in how much you can lift. This is why there's people that are very skinny, they have almost no muscle, but they can lift a lot of weight. They have strong tendons and a good CNS neural drive. Second method, rest pause. Use 85 to 90% of your 1 rep max. Do 2 to 3 sets, rest 15 to 30 seconds, repeat until failure. 3 or 4 total clusters per set. This will maximize strength, endurance in heavy sets. Instead of doing 3x5, for example, you do 3 sets, you do 1, 2 reps, you rest, and you do 3, 4, you rest more and do another one, for example. This will allow you to keep the technique in check, because when you're doing heavy loads in the last 1, 2 reps, you may have some breakdown in technique. This will allow you to keep technique in check, and it can be less taxing to the nervous system. And also, you are maximizing your endurance in the heavy sets, because actually you can do even more reps by doing this 15 to 30 second rest in between, which can be very helpful to build endurance in the heavy sets, have more neural drive. Instead of doing 3x5, you could do 3x8 by doing these mini cluster sets. This is another method that could save you actually time. You can do a lot of volume and it could be less taxing. This is another method that you can use to optimize strength gains, to help you break plateaus, and so on. Third method, cluster sets. This is a famous one. Most people do it. Do 5 singles at 90%, 1 rep max with 20-second rest between each. More high quality reps equals more strength gains. This is important. As I said, you may have some technique breakdown, and keeping the technique high quality, you can have good adaptations, you can do better sets, better reps, and more strength gains. You practice the technique a lot, do 4 to 5 total sets. So basically you're going to do 5 sets of 1 at around 90%. This also can allow you to do a lot of volume. Okay, this will help you do a lot of volume, keep the high quality reps, focus on each rep without having these technique breaks. As you can see, these methods are very heavy, use a lot of heavy load. You focus a lot on technique and having the high quality sets, and be able to do more sets, more volume, while trying to keep the fatigue lower. Method 4, contrast training. This is something that I used a couple years ago with the muscle up. So combine heavy reps with explosive reps. Example, 3 reps, 85% of 1 rep max, then 5 explosive pull-ups. This improves power and rate and force development. And do 4 to 5 total sets. Yes, I would do this. I would do a couple, 3 to 5 reps, but it's better to do around 3 reps, not to accumulate that much fatigue and to keep your explosive power fresh, because the more reps you do, the more you'll fatigue yourself and the explosive power will suffer. So I do 3 reps with the pull-ups, explosive pull-ups, 3 reps. I try to be as explosive as possible while keeping a good technique. And then I drop the weight and I try to do high pull-ups. This is a very good method for you to learn the muscle up, to get your first muscle up, to make your body improve its force rate development, which is important. for the muscle ups, you want to be as explosive as possible. You want to develop your explosive power so you can do muscle ups. And I've applied this to some of my clients. It works well. So for 4 to 5 total sets, and you can apply this to other explosive movements. Clean and jerks, more into weightlifting, can be applied this more than powerlifting or street lifting, but you can always apply this some way or another. Then I think this is the last one of method 5, supermaximal holds. Hold 110, 120% 1 rep max at lockout or hardest part of the movement for 8 to 12 seconds. Best for grip, stability, and neural adaptations. 3 to 4 sets per session. This is something that I've seen a couple of street lifters do on the dips. They put 110, 100% of their loads. They go in this lockout position. They stay there for a few seconds. Namely, Pericol, I've seen doing this. Basically, yeah, you put 110, 120% of your 1 rep max. You stay there on the lockout. You stay there for a couple of seconds, and this can help you adapt your body to the load. And if eventually you get to this load to do 1 rep or close, your body already knows the feeling of having that load, and it can help you have more stability. Because a lot of people may have this problem with stability when they're going to attempt a new 1 rep max. For example, on the dips, they're all shaking. They cannot stay still. And this can affect the set or the rep. Can also help you with the grip, stability, and the neural adaptations, which is basically your body getting used to that load. 3-4 sets per session. And yeah, cycle these methods for 4-6 weeks and expect serious strength gains, and use them smart and don't overtrain. You don't want to overuse these methods because they are very tendon demanding, and you don't want to injure your tendons, and you don't want to fry your nervous system. This has to be well applied. You have to know in which phase you're going to apply these methods. What is your problem? Okay, problem lockout. You want to build more stability. You want to have more quality reps. It depends on a lot of factors on which you're going to use. This can be used by intermediates and advanced athletes. Beginners, maybe it does not make that much of a difference because, as I said in a lot of videos, beginners gain strength pretty fast with the basics. They don't need to complicate things. But if you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced, you may want to do these type of things, methods that can help you get stronger or break plateaus, but you don't want to overuse it. 4 to 6 weeks is good. You have to cycle through intensity, volume phases, and these high exertion phases that can be helpful, and you have to be smart with programming this. How to increase tendon strength for a better street lifting performance. First of all, let's see what are tendons, how tendons benefit strength training. Well, tendons connect muscle to bone, transferring force and stabilizing joints. So, weak tendons means inefficient force transfer, which limits the ability to lift heavier. So, this is a sign that you should pay more attention to your tendon strength. Tendon plays a big role in how much you can lift, even more than your muscles, okay? Unlike muscles, tendons take longer to adapt. This is why beginners might progress fast in muscle strength, but eventually hit a plateau where their tendons can't keep up. And in street lifting, tendons play a major role in handling heavy centric loading, lowering phase of the dips and pull-ups, preventing injury and absorbing force effectively. So, getting your tendon stronger will also prevent you from getting injured fast. The stronger your tendons are, the less probability of you getting injured and having these inflammations around your joint, your elbow joints, tendons, which can happen a lot. So, how to get tendons stronger? First of all, you need to actually exercise. You need to actually train heavy loading to get your tendons stronger. But there's some methods that you can implement to your training that will help you get your tendons stronger. And before you worrying about these methods, you should be focusing on having a plan, going to the gym, and lifting heavy. Okay? So, first thing we have here is slow eccentrics. Lower yourself slowly in the pull-ups and dips, 1 to 5 second eccentrics to create a high tendon stress and adaptation. Yes, this is a method that helps a lot of lifters break their plateaus because you put a lot of stress in your tendons, which later on will adapt and make you stronger. And also, you're making the exercise even harder by doing the slow eccentrics, more time and retention, more stress in the tendons and the muscles. And you're strengthening all the parts of the movement. For example, the pull-ups, you're here and you go slowly, you're strengthening all these phases. And even on the dips, when you're going down, you're strengthening all the phases from here, when you're locked, to the bottom, going slowly, you're strengthening all these phases, which will help you break plateaus and make you stronger. Then, isometric holds. This is something that I like a lot, and I put it on some of my clients. My clients are more intermediate to advanced. I put this isometric holds on their plan. And holding the position under tension forces your tendons to adapt without excessive movement. Basically doing 90-degree pauses on the dips, lucky chin-ups, pauses in the middle of the pull or a chin-up is very similar to the slow eccentrics. You're forcing your body to pause in a position which is probably the hardest part of the movement. On the chin-ups, for example, here on the lockout, on the dips, around 90 degrees, and you're strengthening your tendons, and also you'll have a greater neurological adaptations. And of course, when you train in the hardest part of the movement, it will get stronger, okay? And isometric holds is a very good method to use to strengthen your tendons and get stronger in the hardest positions of the movement. And I will explain how you can implement these methods in your training just now. And also, if you're interested in my coaching, you can schedule a call down below, or you can join my Field Skill community. I have workout plans there: street lifting, street building, calisthenics, and also squat. So you can make some progress, and I want to give you something for free. Next one, we have high rep submaxial work. Tendons respond well to high rep, lower intensity work since it increases blood flow and collagen production. High rep, I think, is a very important thing for street lifters, power lifters, even weightlifters. Because of this, and also the work capacity that you build, the muscles that you develop, which later on, the work capacity, the muscles will help you handle more volume, will help you get stronger. I like to think on the long run. Doing something now that will later on will be very helpful. This is something that I've noticed mostly on powerlifters. They tend to not do high rep work. They always stick to 1 to 5, 1 to 6 rep range for a year. And yes, you will make progress, but I think there will get to a time where you hit this big wall and you get stuck there for months and months and months and even years without seeing any progress. And maybe it's because you have some weak points. Maybe you have low work capacity and you can handle that much volume, or you're getting injured pretty fast because you're not building more muscle. Your tendons probably should have extra work. And when you spend a lot of time in the low rep range heavy weights, you may develop some pains, elbow pain, shoulder pain, due to overworking it. So, implementing some high rep work in your program in some phases could be very beneficial. Finally, connective tissue specific training. Arm wrestling exercises, farm carriers, isolation can be helpful for certain areas to get stronger. Something that I've seen a lot of with the Soviet athletes is they do a lot of arm wrestling exercises. And I think arm wrestling exercises transfer very well to street lifting, because in street lifting we use a lot of this area, the forearms, the wrists, and the elbow for the pull-ups and the dips. And having a strong tendon in this area will be very beneficial for preventing injuries, for you to get stronger. And arm wrestling exercise, there's a lot of pronation, supination, which makes this area stronger. Also farm carriers for stronger tendon health in your forearms, elbows. Also isolation, like pronated, supinated bicep curls, hammer curls. All of these can be helpful for preventing injuries and helping you with this part of the pull-up, which you use a lot of here, your brachialis. And the thing is, you should experiment and see if it works well. If you implemented it right in your program, it can be beneficial. All these 4 things that I just spoke can be beneficial when implemented in the right time and with the right program in your program. It will work. So, how and when to do tendon strengthening exercises? All levels can use these methods to get stronger. As a beginner, not much needed, because you will make progress pretty fast. And as a beginner, you should be focusing more on technique, being consistent, and following an actual plan. As a beginner, you should not be worrying that much about these more advanced methods. You should be focusing on getting a better technique, being consistent with your training, and having a plan that you can follow for months. When you start hitting plateaus, when you get to intermediate level, probably start implementing these more advanced techniques. As an intermediate and advanced, it makes a lot of sense, because you face plateaus regularly, especially as an advanced. So implementing slow eccentrics and isometrics could be your main focus for some time, and then you can switch up things and make them as a secondary movement. Meaning you can have blocks of 4-12 weeks, which you do which your main work is isometric holds or slow eccentrics to get your tendon stronger, to get the movement stronger in those weak areas for better CNS adaptation, for better tendon strength. Then you move to your regular normal dip, normal pull-up, time 5x5, 3x5 training style. And why is this? Doing this when you face a plateau, for example, you're doing dips and you went to 50 kgs and you failed. And that's a wall, that's a plateau. You do a deload and you start implementing these isometrics or slow eccentrics. You do it for 4 weeks, 8 weeks. You start with 20 kgs, you go up till you can progress no more. And then you switch up things and you go to the 50 kg again and you see, oh, I broke this plateau. It's easy now. This is a way to use these methods, or you can use it as a secondary movement. For example, you do your normal dip 3x5 and then you do a 2x3 slow eccentric or paused. This will cause a lot of stress in your joints, so you have to be careful when implementing these methods, okay? So muscles adapt in weeks, but tendons take months to get significantly stronger. Expect 3 to 6 months of consistent tendon focused work for noticeable improvements, mainly as an advanced. Advanced athletes get 3 to 6 months, even 1 year, to put 2 to 5 kgs on their main lift. Another thing is submaxial high rep work. This is something that you should implement to have phases of high rep work and phases of low rep work, higher loads, meaning higher intensity versus higher volume. Switching up these two, having blocks of 4Ds, can be very beneficial as a strength athlete. As I said before, I've seen this mainly with powerlifters. They tend to stick to the low rep, big loads for long periods of time, and switching things up can be very beneficial for more work capacity, muscle growth, preventing injuries, getting your tendons stronger. And getting back here to the tendon thing, start implementing tendon work in your program if you're facing plateaus, but you have to program it in a smart way, doing 4 to 12 weeks of this, and probably 6 sets a week of slow eccentrics and pause work, because if you overdo it, it can cause a lot of stress in your elbows and your tendons, and probably you can injure yourself. Overdoing it is not good too. You have to do the right volume, the right dose, depending on your level and what you're currently working at. So that was it, guys, for this video. You've probably tried eating more and more, even eating junk food on a daily basis to see if your weight goes up. Going to the gym, going hard, but you feel like you're stuck, you don't see any changes in your weight. The problem is not the calories or your training, but your digestion. Here's one of my clients who had this problem, was a hard gainer, could not gain weight, and he implemented these methods that I'm about to share, and he finally saw changes. If your digestion is not working, you will not be able to absorb and utilize the nutrients to gain weight. Instead, all the food that you eat will be flushed out, and you will not be able to use the nutrition to build muscle and finally gain weight. Digestion is the foundation of how you build muscle, because the digestion will pick the food, break it down, turn into raw materials that will build muscle tissue and make you gain weight. If your digestion is weak, it doesn't matter how much you eat. This is one of the reasons you see pro bodybuilders eating a lot of food and having some enzymes afterwards or before, so they can absorb the nutrients, because they know if you don't absorb the nutrients, you will not build muscle, you will not gain the weight. You've probably felt this before. You eat a lot of food and you feel like it's stuck in your gut for hours and hours and hours, and you start feeling this discomfort, bloating, gas, and even sweating because of the discomfort of your food being like stuck here in your gut. This is a sign of poor digestion and absorption ability, and you probably don't want to feel that. So why is your digestion weak in first place? There's 4 main reasons behind it. The first will be toxins everywhere, from heavy metals, plastics, the water, the air, the environment. All of these things plays a role on your absorption ability and on the damage that your body gets. These toxins build up in your gut and damage the lining, which is supposed to help you absorb nutrients. For example, you ingest some junk food. Junk food comes with a lot of chemicals, a lot of toxins, and this, when you consume it, what your body wants to do is fight these toxins, get rid of these toxins. And what happens is that your body gets damaged, and this will influence with time your ability to absorb nutrients because it is damaged. When you ingest a toxin, your body wants to get rid of it through feces and the pee. So if you eat foods rich in toxins, you will not absorb any nutrients. Your body just wants to get rid of it. And this is one of the reasons why you cannot gain weight. Secondly, prenatal poisoning. Most of us are born already with a disadvantage because our moms didn't have the best choice or didn't know better. And the toxins are passed down to us, and this can develop some sort of issue with digestion or other problems. Thirdly, cooked foods. Most people just eat cooked foods, or 90% of the time they just eat cooked foods. And the problem with cooked foods is that The high heat destroys the enzymes, it cauterizes the minerals, it destroys the proteins and the fats, the vitamins, especially the water-soluble vitamins that disappear completely, plus making it harder to digest and less nutritious. When the enzymes and the bacteria are dead, you have way harder time digestion and utilizing the minerals, the vitamins, and the nutrients. In fourth place, lack of bacteria. The modern life is bacteriophobic. Everything has to be sanitized, everything has to be with antibiotics, everything has to be pasteurized, the use of chlorine, everything to get rid of bacteria. And without them, your digestion will suffer. You are in a disadvantage. Bacteria is essential for good health, to absorb nutrients, for your gut to function properly and digest the food how you're supposed to. And bacteria is one of the most feared things nowadays. And if this is you, you're facing the same problems, you've tried a lot of things, you cannot gain weight, schedule a free call down below and I'll help you for free. And I'll help you and tell you what to do so you can see some improvements in your weight gain journey. And if you want to work with me, nice. If you don't want to work with me, it's also nice. I'll still give you the value for free. Now, how to restore and fix your digestion. First, remove the toxins from your life. Instead of using tap water to cook, to drink, use bottled water. It's better if it's in glass bottles instead of plastic bottles because you get some toxins from the plastics. Stop eating canned food. Canned food is one of the worst things you can eat because of the heavy metals. Heavy metals do big damages in your gut, your hair follicles, which can make you lose your hair, make your hair go gray faster. Avoid cosmetics, which are full of chemicals, plastics, heavy metals. Try to be as much as possible in nature, having sun. All of these things will help you detoxify the toxins, plus you'll be less exposed to these toxins. Plus, eating more raw foods will help you heal your gut. Secondly, detoxify what is already inside of you. One of the most powerful things that you can do is binders. Foods such as raw eggs and raw cheese has the ability to bind to these toxins in your body and later on be expelled. This is an advantage. Will help you clean faster from these toxins and help you restore your gut lining. And finally, you'll be able to absorb the nutrients how it is supposed to. Also, hot baths. Hot baths will help you detoxify some toxins in your body, but you have to be careful. You don't want super hot baths because this can cause stress and damage to your skin. Plus it robs some nutrients. You want moderate heat plus some nourishing substances that will help you detoxify without depleting your body from its nutrients. Thirdly, rebuild your body by consuming more raw foods. Raw milk, raw fermented milk, raw cheese, raw eggs, raw meat. All of these raw foods are packed with enzymes and bacteria and the nutrients that will rebuild your digestion, that will rebuild your gut. Plus, with all the nutrients, you don't need to eat as much to gain the weight or force yourself to eat empty carbs that are void of nutrients. Most people just focus on the carbs, but they forget about the fats. Animal fats have the nutrition, are easily digestible, more easily to digest than carbs, plus they have more calories. Also, they help with your hormones, so it's a win. This is one of the easiest things you can do to see some weight gain. Instead of focusing on just the carbs, eat more fats. You see that your body will start gaining weight because you have the nutrients and the fats are easily digestible. Fourthly, some extras that may be helpful. Don't drink water while eating. This will cause imbalance in your gut, will reduce the ability of absorbing nutrients. Don't drink as much water because the water will expand your gut and will cut out some appetite. And you don't want that if you want to gain weight. Prioritize animal fats instead. Prioritize animal fats over carbs have sun in the chest, in the belly. This will help you with digestion. Also, your environment is very important. Try to be in nature as much as possible. Have somewhere with clean air so you can breathe the clean air. Be outside. All of these things will help you fix your gut. So that was it for this video. If you need help, book a free call down below and I'll be glad to help you out. See y'all in the next video.
If you want to maximize muscle growth, build muscle faster, and even getting stronger, you want to go for simplicity. I believe that simplicity beats complexity every day of the week when it comes to building muscle and strength. The problem is that most guys think that doing more exercises, doing more reps, doing more sets will equal to more muscle growth, but that's a lie. What is important is mechanical tension, intent, and making the exercise harder every single week. If you follow these 3 simple rules, you'll make progress. And another big mistake most guys make is that they don't track their progression. They don't know how to progress. They just go to the gym, chase the pump, chase the burn, do a lot of exercises, half-assed. They don't put the intensity there. And next week, they don't know what to do. They change the exercises probably. Or if they keep the same exercise, they don't know if they should add more weight, do more reps. They just do the same thing over and over and over again. I've seen this a lot of times. People who come to my coaching do these mistakes. My friends that want some advice when it comes to training do the same thing. And I believe that doing one lift really hard will beat 5 done half-assed. If you do one set, one exercise really well done, will be better than doing 5, 4 half-assed, no intensity, no intent at all. And now I'm going to show you here what I consider a good training split and a bad training split. Here we can see is a very minimal plan. You have 4 exercises, 2 for chest, 1 for shoulders, and 1 for triceps. This would be like a push day. You have 2 exercises for push for your chest you will put a lot of intent there and you will push really hard, and then you have 1 for the shoulder and 1 for the tricep. This does not mean that this is the best training split ever. This is just an example. And how do you progress here? You can see here we have 5 sets of 3 to 5. And what you want to do is, there's a lot of ways to progress here. You want to pick a weight that you do 3 to 4 reps max, and the next week you want to do 5 reps in every single set. And the moment that you do 5 by 5, you increase the weight. And then you repeat it again. You can start with 5 by 3. You start adding 1 more rep or 2 more reps every single week. The moment you eat 5 by 5, you add more weight. And there's a lot of ways to progress, and this is just an example. The chest press machine could be the same thing. You'll pick a weight that you do between 6 and 10, and every single week you want to do more reps till you reach the 10 reps, and then you add more weight. Or you could keep, for example, with the bench, 5 by 3, you keep the same sets and reps, and every week you do a little bit of an increase, like 2.5 kilograms, 1 kilogram every single week. And this applies to chest press also. And this is another rep scheme, but the thought process is basically the same when it comes to progression. You pick a weight that you do 12 to 15 reps. The moment you get to 15 reps, you add more weight. And as you progress, as you go week by week, and you got to a point where you cannot add more weight, it is very hard. What you can do is decrease the reps for 8 to 10 reps and start adding more weight and repeat this process. The moment you get stuck between 8 to 10 reps with a certain weight, you cannot add more weight, you'll try to increase the repetitions, and you can build it to 12 or 15 and then repeat the same thing again. And for the triceps, it's the same thing. This is another example, bench, overhead, dips, lateral raises. This is what I would consider a good training split. And then we have here what I would consider a bad training split. Too many exercises, too much sets, too much reps. And if you get to the cable flies and you can do in the last set 15 reps, it means that everything that you did before was for nothing. Because if you did really good sets, you would get here on the machine chest press, you couldn't you wouldn't be able to do it properly. You would be too fatigued to even do this properly. And if you did it, would be with suboptimal loads. So you don't want your training split to look like this. Too much fatigue, too much exercises, it does not mean more muscle growth. And it can really do the opposite because you're too fatigued. So the problem, why are most people stuck? Too many exercises, too many rep schemes, constant program hopping. This is a problem. People cannot stick around with the program for at least 3 months. Every month they try something new. They're doing calisthenics, then they try to do IROX, and then they try to do a hybrid training or whatever. And they have no clear progression. And this is what I was saying just now. Most guys don't know how to progress. And the evidence to back up what I said about doing less exercises will build the same muscle as doing more exercises or even more. There's this study here, and it shows that doing 2 exercises versus 6 exercises will do the same muscle growth. So you're basically wasting your energy and time here. You can injure yourself doing more and more and more. By doing the extra, there's like a marginal benefit. Like if you're a bodybuilder on steroids, yeah, this could make a lot of sense to do more and more and more to try to target all these little muscles that you need for stage. And also the rep schemes. There's a new study done by Manos. It shows that doing 4x4 versus 3x12 will build the same muscle. A lot of people still have this thing of lower reps, more strength, higher reps, more muscle growth. But that's a lie. Heavy loads will build just as much muscle. Strength-focused training is easier to push. This means that on the long run, it will be better for you to stay in the game, keep pushing, keep making progress. Doing high reps for long periods of time is very fatiguing, will burn you out. You can lead you to injuries really fast. So doing this lower rep approach could be a very useful thing for you that has been doing high reps for long periods of time. And why I like low reps? Easier to measure progress, easier to push through effort, less mental fatigue, clear win or fail, builds confidence and intent. The simple system. Pick one main lift, train hard, progress every session, the muscle will follow. If you follow this rule, you'll build muscle, you'll get stronger eventually. You just have to give it time for you to see the real progress. Pick one lift, train it hard, progress every session, muscle will follow. Progress every session, what I said in the beginning of the video, and that's it. Accessories, what I think about them. They're optimal, not mandatory. If you're a bodybuilder again, well, doing triceps, biceps, forearms, fingers, or whatever would make sense. A lot of sense. You should not skip them. But if your goal is to be the most aesthetic possible, the strongest possible, have a good physique, they're not mandatory. I don't train arms at all, and my arms are a decent size. Accessories can be used for recovery, weak points, and enjoyment. Accessories should be like 20%, 30% of your total volume of training. And they can be very helpful when done right. Because if you do them wrong, you could affect the progress of the main lift. And why simplicity wins long term? Less decision fatigue, more consistency, easier to stay motivated, sustainable for years. And if you want to go to the advanced level, this is probably the approach that you should have.
On today's video, I'm going to share with you how to go from 0 to weighted pull-ups and dips, and I'll share a case study of one of my clients. So, where to start? Gym or park? I'd say gym. And this is because in the gym you have more variety, you have machines that will help you build the base strength for you to do your first pull-up. And you will commit less mistakes because machines are easier to do than going to the park, trying to do your pull-ups or rows on the bar.
which for most people is very hard to begin with. In the gym, it's very easy to do progressive overload because you just have to add more weight, more reps, or more sets. In this case, adding more weight is the best thing you can do because you want to build the base strength and develop your muscles so you can do your first few pull-ups. There is more variety because you have more machines. You have lat pull downs, low rows, chest press, shoulder press, triceps, biceps. All of these machines, all of these exercises will help you get your first pull-up or dip faster than just going to the park, trying to do negative pull-ups, trying to do banded pull-ups that sometimes most people cannot even do 5 pull-ups with bands, which in the beginning can be hard and their technique is off and they don't have this body awareness to start doing their pull-ups or even rows, which you need some body awareness, some technique to do your first rows. Meanwhile, in the gym, in the machines, it's easier to do. You don't have to pay that much attention on the form. Of course, you need to do a good form, but it's easier to start, it's easier to perform compared to going to the park and do pure calisthenics. And eventually, if you want to do weighted pull-ups, weighted dips, street lifting, you'll go to the gym. So it's better to start off in the gym. When you build your base, you can do your first pull-ups, then you can go to the park and do some pure calisthenics workout. So it's better to start at the gym. It will make your progress faster. By the way, guys, if you want to learn the muscle up, you need help with your calisthenics movements, with street lifting, powerlifting movements, get stronger, get a better physique, you can schedule a call down below and see how I can help you. Now, you've built some base strength and now you can do some banded pull-ups and you will build enough strength to do some dips, for example 5 dips, and you can see here and say why banded pull-ups and get strong enough that you can do 5 dips. It is because I don't like to do dips with bands or do negative work on the pull-ups or in the bands. This is what I'm saying is what I applied to my client, and he went from doing barely 3 pull-ups with a resistance band of 20 kgs to doing 1 rep with 30 kgs. The reason why I don't like dips with bands is because it is hard to set up. When you go over the band, you kind of lose balance, it starts shaking, and when you do the dip, when you go down, it just pushes back with a lot of force and it's hard to control, and also it makes the hardest part of the movement the easiest, which I don't think is a good thing. Negatives is super boring to do. You have to do a bunch of sets, bunch of reps, and it's super boring. And I think there's a better way to do it. I think there's a less boring way to do it, a more effective way to do it, which is, for example, doing chest press, bench press, getting stronger at the push-up, get your triceps stronger, overhead press, all of that you can do in the gym. Or even in the park, you can do some exercise that will help you get your first dips. And usually getting your first dips is easier and faster than getting your first pull-ups. At least in the case of my clients, they always get their first dips faster than their first pull-ups. So now, pull-ups, banded pull-ups, what are you gonna do? You have to do the movement 2 to 3 times a week. It is best if you do 3 times. 9 to 10 sets a week of pull-ups and dips. How to progress? You're gonna increase every week till you reach 10 reps. So you'll pick a resistance band that you can do a maximum of 6 reps, 7. And every week you're gonna add 1 more rep.
one more rep. Even in a single week, you can do one more rep in the next session. Sometimes this can happen and you learn the technique, you have this whoa moment, I know how to do the movement, and the reps will go up. And always keep doing a secondary movement. It can be lat pull downs, a sort of row. All of this will help you get your first pull up faster. The secondary movement will be crucial. Even isolation in the biceps will be crucial for you to get your first bodyweight pull-ups. In the case of my client, this is what we did. We picked a band that he could do 6 reps, and we increased the reps till he got to 10 reps, and then we used a lighter band, which was I think 15, and this is after building that base strength with lat pull downs, row machines, and biceps. Before that, it could even do 3 reps with banded pull-ups with a resistance of 20 kgs. So we did that 15 kg resistance band, and then eventually we moved to body weight. And also this applies to the dips. And also this applies to the dips. Do 3 times a week, 9 to 10 sets, increase the reps little by little. But this is when you get your first 5 dips. And every week try to get 6, 7, 8, 10, and then you'll move to weighted. So let me show you here my client first 3 months transformation. So this is his transformation. The first day he did barely 3 pull-ups with a resistance band of 20 kgs, and this is 2.5 months, 3 months after. Is doing hazy pull-ups with 5 kgs attached to his body. And this is what we did. We started with the bands, we did all this process that I've just explained, and then when he mastered the banded pull-ups, we started working to get his first bodyweight pull-ups. So you've worked with the banded pull-ups and you've unlocked your first bodyweight pull-ups and your dips. And how do you get to weighted? First of all, get at least 10 body weight pull-ups clean to build enough strength, to have enough practice, to refine the technique, and to have this body awareness of the movement. How do you get your first 10 pull-ups? The system is the same. You will increase the reps 1 by 1, 2 by 2 every week. And the thing is, you have to do at least 3 sets of 10. Not 1 set of 10, then the second set 8, and the third set 7. You have to do 10, 10, 10. This is what I do with my clients. This is what I apply with my clients. For you, it could work in other ways. I'm just sharing the experience of my clients. You keep doing the secondary movement, you keep doing the isolation, you keep the frequency high, and 9 to 12 sets a week, it's the hot spot for a good progress. And of course, you're not gonna do 10 sets a week of high intensity, high volume workouts. For example, the first day is the most intense. You do 3 sets of 8. Second day, 3 sets of 5. A third day, 3 sets of 7. Something like that. Okay, now you've got your first 10 clean pull-ups and dips. So what are you gonna do now? You're gonna pick a weight that the maximum you can do is 7, 8 reps. Okay, and you're only gonna do 6 reps with that weight. And why is this? Because for strength gains, it's best if you don't go to failure every training session, every week, because for the best progress, you need to be fresh. You don't want to get your nervous system to its maximum or always go to failure, because this will not help you with developing the most strength, or it is not sustainable in the long run. So you're gonna pick a weight that you do maximum 8 reps, and you're only gonna do 6 reps. You're gonna start with 6 reps and start adding weight. 2 to 5 kgs, RAR, 2 to 3 reps in reserve. This is what it means, RAR, 2 to 3. Like I said, you pick a weight that you do maximum 8 reps and you only do 6, 2 reps in reserve. And you're gonna increase the weight every single week, not the reps. You want to get stronger, so you want to increase the weight. And you increase the weight by 1 kg to 5 kgs every week. Always keep doing the secondary movement. This, like I said before, it is very helpful for you to develop that strength, mainly because you are a beginner. You want to have that practice, want to build that muscle, that strength, etc., etc. And sometimes we would max out. Every now and then we'd see how many reps he or she could do with a certain weight. For example, we do 6 reps with 10 kgs, and then a week after, 2 weeks after, or in the end of the week, we'd say, this session, let's try to do as many reps as possible with 10 kgs. And this also would allow me to see where this person is, his level. For example, he did 12 reps. I'd say, okay, I can increase the weight by 2 kgs, by 5 kgs instead of 1 kg. Because you don't also want to be undershooting, being under training, because this is not good for progress. So let me share you this client's progress. So this is 20 kgs. This is 20 kgs that he did for 3 reps, I guess. The form is not the best here because he doesn't have the belt to have the best performance. As you can see here, his arms are not fully bent, but also if he did that, his feet would touch the floor, and he has the weight attached to his ankles, which is not the optimal. And I think with a belt, he could do way more reps, like way more reps, and the form would be cleaner. Also, this person, he did have 0 gym experience before. This was achieved in 7 months of training, but inconsistent training, because with work, with school, with all of that, we couldn't train those 7 months straight. There were times that we would be 2 weeks off, 3 weeks off, sometimes almost a month. And this video that I sent here is 27 kgs. This is 27 kgs for 3, and this is 20 kgs, and this is 20 kgs that he did here. You can see way faster, way cleaner, and yeah, he did 30 kgs. His best was 30 kgs for 2 or 1, if I'm not wrong. But based on this video that I did 27 by 3, 30 by 2 is probably what he did. And this is to show you that it's not hard. You just have to be patient. And if you apply this thing that I shared, you can have a good progress. Since you are a beginner, I'm pretty sure that this system would work for you perfectly. And as I said before, this client of mine didn't have any practice before, any gym experience. It was his first time. He told me, I want to get stronger and build a better physique. And this is what he achieved. This is what he achieved. As you can see here, more muscular, bigger arms, bigger shoulders, the chest, bigger traps, abs are popping off. He gained 5 kgs if I'm not wrong, and the body fat went down. So it was a good progress, and the focus was not even bodybuilding, it was just get stronger in the basics. We didn't do dips we just implemented later on. Its focus on the push movements was the bench press. So that's what I wanted to share here. I think if you apply this, you can have a good progress. So if you want to learn the muscle up, get stronger with calisthenics, learn the street lifting, you can schedule a call down below and see how I can help you. So see y'all in the next video. Most men think that high reps equals more muscle growth, but the reality is that your body does not grow from more reps. It grows from mechanical tension. And doing high rep training can affect your hormones, can affect your testosterone, which are very important for muscle building and strength gains. And why you should listen to me? Well, I'm a certified coach. I've coached people from 16 to 60 years old, male, female, in the gym, online, outdoors. I've got people from zero beginner to advanced levels of strength. And me, I've achieved strength features with my height and weight that most men will never achieve in their lives. Now, let me show you here an example so you can see things more clearly. We have two types of pull-ups here. We have the CrossFit pull-up and we have the normal calisthenics street lifting pull-up. On this one, you don't apply that much force, you just swing and you use momentum. And this is not optimal for you to develop the most strength possible and even muscle growth. You may feel the pump on the muscles, on the bicep, on the upper back, but this does not mean that it is the best for muscle growth. For example, you may run 10K and you feel your legs sore, but this does not mean that it is the best for you to have the most strength and size. Secondly, it is very fatiguing, and this can affect your whole session if you have another exercise to do after. And this excess of fatigue, it is not the best friends with your testosterone. When you have a lot of fatigue, your cortisol rises and your testosterone tanks, which is not the best thing for muscle growth and strength. Then you have poor motor unit recruitment, which is not good for strength overall. And it is bad for your hormones because of the excess fatigue. When you're doing an exercise and you're out of breath right after, this means that it is very, very fatiguing and you're probably not doing the best thing for strength gains and even muscle growth. This does not mean that you'll never build muscle doing this. If you're a beginner, yes. It doesn't matter what you do, you'll build muscle. But if you want to go to the advanced level of strength, of pulling strength, developing your back, probably doing this one is the best thing. Why? Because because you can produce more force and you have good contractions, which is necessary for muscle growth and strength development. Last session fatigue, when you do a set of 6-8 reps, you may have some fatigue, but it's not like you're out of breath and you cannot do anything else after that. And in 2 days after, you are basically fully recovered. It has a good motor unit recruitment, which is essential for strength, and is good for your hormones because you're not pushing your limits. You're not pushing your body to the limits. You have this acute stress, but it does not affect your hormones like excessive stress from doing this high rep training that fatigues your nervous system, your muscles, your lungs a lot. Now, why mechanical tension is more important than rep range? Well, what builds muscle and strength is high muscular force output, high quality contractions, and rep number is just a tool. Mechanical tension is what actual signal for growth. Reps is just for you to see if you're progressing or not. For example, you do 4 reps a day and the next week you did 6 reps. This means that you're getting stronger. This means that you're getting the adaptations. This means that you're building muscle. And rep ranges is just for you to see if you're progressing or not. If you go to the gym, you've probably seen this before. There's always a guy there that grabs the lightest weight and does 15, 20 reps. And after doing those 20 reps, his breath didn't change. You see that the velocity on the weights didn't change from beginning to the end. And this happens a lot of times with people, especially from 30s and above. They're kind of scared or they don't know that they can do more weight. And most coaches in the gym will tell you to do 3 by 12, which is not a good thing. And this will just accumulate the fatigue. You may have some burn on the muscles, but this is not the optimal for you to progress the fastest possible. Your body is stronger than what you think. What you want to do is high force. You want to produce high force for growth. Pick a weight that you can do maximum 6 to 8 reps, do 2, maximum 3 sets, and every week you want to do more weight. Or you can test a max out. For example, you see if you can get to 10 reps, and then it means that you have to increase the weight. It is that simple with training. Now, what low reps actually do? Low reps, maximum tension per rep. High reps, reduce force per rep. Low reps create maximal force, high motor unit activation, short duration, strong hormonal environment. If you want to get the strongest possible, if you want to build muscle in the most optimal way, doing lower reps, I believe, is the best way. This is the training your nervous system and hormones want, because you're not putting the unnecessary fatigue, because recovery is very important. When you go beyond the effective reps, you're just accumulating fatigue. This will not make you grow more muscle or get stronger fast. If you ever seen the strongest athletes, they rarely go to their limit because they understand this. And why the extra reps cause problems? High reps, I'd say sets from 11 reps and above. After the effective reps, like I said, everything after is more fatigue, more lactate, more CNS, strain, more cortisol, not more muscle. And when you combine all of these things, you get drained and you have more, and it takes you more time to recover. And this can affect your performance next session. It has long duration. It elevates your heart rate, elevates stress response. This spikes cortisol, which suppresses testosterone, and also it can affect your hunger levels. There's people that when they work way too hard, they lose hunger. They don't want to eat. And this is not a good thing for the recovery. Now, muscle and CNS fatigue. High rep creates two types of unnecessary fatigue. Muscle fatigue, burn, the pump, the lactate, and not tension-driven growth. The CNS fatigue, which I think is even more important than muscle fatigue. Long sets drains the nervous system, slower recovery, which will equal to lower hormonal output, and both lead to lower performance and lower testosterone. This is probably what happens when you do only high rep training. You get tired, your hormones get wrecked, you need a lot of pre-workouts, energy drinks to get to your workout, to do your workouts. And also this can affect your sleep when you wreck your nervous system and your hormones. This is very important. You want your hormones and nervous system to always be recovered. You never want these two things to tank, because this will affect your whole session, your next block, your recovery, your muscle growth, and also can lead you to anxiety and even depression. When you destroy your CNS, all of these things can happen. And like I said in the beginning, high reps are not bad. High reps actually have benefits. Build work capacity, improve tendon health, increase muscle endurance, increase blood flow, useful for finishes and accessories, learning the movement, but they are not optimal for strength, testosterone, or low fatigue progress. If you're a beginner, doing some high rep can be very useful for you to learn the movement. For example, if you're learning a squat, you will not put a lot of weight and do 3 to 5 reps. You want to do a lot of reps for you to feel how it is to do a back squat, for you to find the best position for your legs, your feet, your knees to be. And this applies to every single exercise. During the off season, doing high reps also can be very important for your tendon, for it to increase your muscle endurance, which later on can be very helpful with your 1 rep max training, with the lower rep training. High reps is not bad. You have to know when to use it. You have to use it to your own benefit. Now, when high reps becomes a problem, high reps hurt your hormones when you rely on them as your main training style. You chase failure often, your heart rate stays elevated too long. And this will equal to high strain, high cortisol, which lowers testosterone. So, what is the best approach for men? For strength recovery and hormonal dominance, 1 to 6 reps, high mechanical tension, long rests, low acute fatigue, clean, powerful contractions. This trains your strength system and not your stress system. This is what I do with my clients. We always try to optimize recovery, CNS, and training. And doing these 3 things, they make progress faster than ever before. In terms of strength and muscle growth, if you want to see more of my clients, go on the first link in the description, scroll down and you'll see some of my clients' progress. So that was it for this video. If you're interested in coaching, first link in the description, and you have every information that you need. See you all in the next video.
In this video, I'm going to share with you how you can master the squat so that technique or depth are not your limiting factor. Because when technique is your limiting factor to progress in weight or doing more reps, it is a bad thing. So to master the squat, there's 3 things that I think of: the rack position, foot and knee placement and movement, and their depth. So let's start here with foot, knee placement, and movement. Well, you probably have been told or you've seen that this is good and this is bad. But that's not the case. This is something natural that happens when you squat, when you're carrying a lot of weight, when you're doing lots of reps. This can happen, and this is not a bad thing. Let's see here an example. Olympic weightlifter Lee Sang. As you can see, his knees go in and then goes out. Look, in, out. It is a bad thing? No, he is an Olympic weightlifter. He probably has one of the best coaches in the world, and they probably have noticed that he does this and they didn't correct him or whatever. So the chances of it being bad is low. Another example here is, Simon Strand explains well. It's not your weak glutes, it's not a tight abductors, is stronger squatting pattern. When you do this position of your knees caving in, it puts you in a more advantageous position to break mainly this area. The 90 degrees or a little bit above 90 degrees, it will help you break this part and complete the lift. Now, knee toe alignment. There's 4 examples here. This happens a lot with weightlifters when they're doing their jerk, clean and jerk, I guess, if I'm not wrong. But for squatting, this will not work. You will lose balance, you will not have as much strength. And then we have here 2 positions which are good. In this position, as what I can see here is that this guy has the knees more pushed forward compared to this. This has his hips more open, and this guy has his knees pushed more forward. And any of these can be done. This will depend on your background, your genetics, and what feels more comfortable for you. This is important for the squat. Do what feels more comfortable for you. And we have this example, which is excessive knee out, which is not good. If you do this, you will lose balance and you'll fall. Now, shoulder width, hip width, which one? Well, shoulder width probably works for 99% of the people. And hip width doesn't work for everyone, but I'll explain here more in a second. I think shoulder width works for most people, but there's something you have to try. Most women do hip width for obvious reasons and for their body structure. For them, it's probably easier to do that way. And we have also wide. This works best for powerlifters and long-legged people, because people with long legs like me, we have trouble going down and pushing our knees forward, and doing this wider stance and
pushing back, usually more helpful, makes things easier. But it doesn't need to be like this. I started squatting like this, but my squat changed a lot. Now I squat like this. And the problem with the squat is that it takes the quads from the equation. You're just doing glute and lower back dominant. And for me, or for tall people, usually this can lead to injuries pretty easily because usually tall people have weak lower backs, and squatting like this may not be sustainable in the long term or when you're doing heavier weights. So we've seen the three stances and knee, foot placement, and movement. So don't forget, this is not bad, okay? This is normal and it puts you in a more advantageous position. Now, rack position. This is one of the most important things and most neglected things. So we have three types of rack: low bar, high bar, mid bar. And we have these two guys. This guy smiling here, and this guy with a sad face, angry face. And this guy, long torso, short femur, is basically gifted for squat. He was made for squat. Whatever he does works well for him. This guy has the ability to go down here with no problem compared to this guy with long femur and short torso. And let me give an example here. We have low bar, for example. Low bar, usually the bar is around here. This is how the bar is, will travel, the force is here. For this guy, it's cool. He uses squat, he uses glute, lower back, no problem. Now, this guy, lower with low bar, this is where the bar is. As you can see, it will be just glute and lower back dominant because it's pushing back to squat. And this will take the quads from the equation, as I said just now. And if you are a power lifter, that you have strong glutes and lower back, yeah, this will work. The problem is breaking the 90-degree angle, going above parallel to be valid in a competition. This guy has a lot of trouble with that. And because he has to push back a lot, and if he goes too much, he can fall. Okay? So what will happen is his back will start rounding, his head will be like here, and he will do like a good morning squat so he can reach depth and have a valid squat. Now, high bar. For this guy, high bar is perfect. Most weightlifters or the best weightlifters all have this type of body, which makes the sport easier to have more advantage. So high bar, this is how the position is. As you can see, it didn't change as much with low bar for high bar. This guy can do everything. Now this guy, high bar for him is probably the worst. Okay, of course there are people with long legs that can do high bar. Like me, I can do any of these. I can do these three types of squat with no problem, and I'll explain how you can achieve it. So stick to the video till the end. So high bar for this guy is probably super horrible. The bar puts the force here. The force is going like this, and what will happen? He will put a lot of strength and pressure here in his lower back because the bar is going down and his back is bending a lot, and this will also make the body do this, which is a not good thing. You don't want the squat to look this ugly. Then we have mid bar, which is something in between. So low bar would be here, high bar here, mid bar would be something around here. Well, as you can see, the angles are a bit better than on the high bar and on the low bar. And I think mid bar squat works perfectly for every everyone. The mid bar, let me show here with best. So mid bar would be here, low bar would be around here, and this is high bar. Okay, so you can see from the back how it is. Okay, mid bar can be advantages for short torso, long femur people like me, and this is what I do. And I found that this works best for me. I can feel my quads more, and I have also glute and lower back activation, but before that it was just glutes and lower back, and my quads would feel nothing. And so mid bar can be a style that will make your squat blow up, or you will feel better doing it. Now, rack position. This is a good position here. The shoulders are engaged, as you can see here. They're going inwards. They are very engaged, which is a good thing. The arms are going in, which is important. You want to have as much pressure in this area. You want this place to be as stable and as rigid as possible so you can do the best squat, so you can carry the most weight. Also, another thing that is important and very neglected is the symmetry. You want here to be as symmetric as possible so the bar doesn't tilt like this. Okay, another thing that I would put here is the elbows to be more to the front a bit, not exaggerating, but a bit to the front. This is a lot like this. I think that would make it even better. Now, a poor squat, a poor rack. Look at the bar, asymmetry on the hands, the back is not engaged, the elbows are going outwards, are not going in to make the pressure to squeeze the lats and have the pressure here to do the best squat. The thing I said just now, the elbows, by being a bit to the front, you can squeeze the lat better, which will make this area also more stable and have less chances of rounding your back. Now, going to the elbows, an example here of what you should not do and should do. Your elbows should be stable, aligned here like a 40 degree, 30 something degrees, and here your elbows are going outwards. What is this going to do? It's going to make you round your back, have no stability here because you cannot squeeze your back. If your elbows are like this, you cannot squeeze properly your back and have the most stability. And this can make the bar move and you will lose stability and power. Now, elbows. Another thing here on elbows. Having your elbows here can be a dangerous thing on the long run. I've seen this with my friend. He always did squat like this and he developed elbow pain because all the pressure is on your elbows. And when you're doing greater weights like 200 kgs or more, this will put a lot of pressure in your elbow, which is no good. What you should do then? Push your elbows a bit to the back. This will disperse the pressure. This will disperse the weight. This is physics 101. You will not have as much pressure on your elbow if your arms are like this. It kind of will disperse, okay? As I said before, I'd rather have the elbows around here so you can squeeze the lats better for more stability. And also when you're squatting, you don't want your elbows to go up a lot. Minimal movement, it's okay, but when you go a lot, it will cause this problem. Or when your elbows go in a lot, will cause a lot of problems. You lose stability, you lose the power, and you lose the tightness of your back. You never want to lose the tightness of your back. Now, we've seen the rack position, how to position the bar on your back, the types of styles of squat, the elbow position. All of this is important but very neglected, and I don't see a lot of people talking about this. Now, depth. How do you fix your depth? By the way, guys, what I'm sharing is what I did, what I experienced, what I experimented with me and my clients. How do you fix your depth? I think about two things, the hips and the ankles. Let's start with the hips. Strengthening your hips with exercises like this, any knee raise exercise is great for strengthening your hips because the stronger your hips are, the lower you can get, the more you can open your legs to squat deeper. Because for some people, having their knees a bit like this, pointing outwards is best. And having strong hips is important for depth. And not only that, it will make your squats stronger. Another exercise is knees over toes. I did this a lot. This will stretch your hips, making them more mobile and flexible, and also strengthen your quads. It will strengthen your quads and this area, okay, which is important for the squat, okay? When you go into this position, you want this area to be strong so you can carry the most weight. And the exercise I did for my hips was similar to this. I would lay on the floor, put the cables on my feet, and do this movement. So I'll be on the floor, put the cables on my feet, and I do this movement on the floor. I think it's easier. I think it has a higher ROI to do it that way. So ankles. For ankles, doing front squats with an elevation is great. I did this a lot. This will help this part to loosen up, okay, and strengthen that area, which is what you need for a deep squat. This part needs to be strong and mobile, and this squat will help you develop the mobility here because all the pressure is here, okay? And also your knees, your legs will get stronger. Another thing you can do is going to this position, doing sets of 10 before your squat of this, or on your rest days, going to this position. What you want here is to feel the stretch here in the tibias and your gastrocnemius and push your knees forward. Okay, you want to be in this position. You do sets of 10. 1-2 seconds down here and go up. You want to feel the stretch here, and push your knees forward. And also open your hips, okay, in this position. 2 seconds down there, go up, 3 sets of 10. Good. You can do it on your rest days, before your squats. It will help you. And every time you do this, every week, you want to go to the front a little bit more. If you have trouble being in this position, you can put some elevation here. It can be plates or this elevation. It will help you, and eventually you'll be with your feet on the floor. So guys, this is what I did and what I applied to my clients, and I wanted to share it with you. And if you need help with your squat, with your training, strength training, street lifting, losing weight, gaining muscle, you can schedule a call down below with me and I'll see what I can help you. Or you can join my school community. It's free. You have all the resources there that will help you lose weight, gain muscle, build strength, street lifting, calisthenics, all of that. So guys, that was it. Hope you learned something and see y'all in the next video. You find it hard to build a good physique, have energy, have focus, have good digestion, have health, feel amazing because you are biologically suppressed. Not because you're lazy, you don't have the genetics, or you're not good enough, or you're broken. This is me when I was 21 years old. I was inflamed. low energy, bad digestion, hard time building muscle, unhealthy, messed up hormones. You can clearly see on these pictures how I was unhealthy. I had a very unhealthy look. Sunken and dark eye circles, receded jawline, hard time growing a beard, inflamed face. You can see here my eyes were pretty inflamed. And this is me now. This picture is in 2024, but you can clearly see here that I built some muscle, I have a better physique, but probably now is way better. This is what is January or February 2024, so it's almost 2 years now. I can grow a full beard. My eyes, there's no dark eye circles anymore. They are not inflamed. I have better skin. I have better hair. My beard is better. I had a forward growth on my jaw, a wider jaw. I think I look better now than before. And this was all due to these 4 pillars of my coaching: nervous system optimization, gut and digestive health, strength training, and hormone alignment. And if you're interested and want to know more, go to the first link in the description. You'll have every information that you need from my coaching. And also watch the videos I'll link here next so you can have more of an idea what are these 4 pillars. So the problem, what is the problem? Your energy system is broken. You have flattened dopamine baseline, disrupted circadian rhythm, chronically elevated cortisol, inflamed gut. This is all the things that I had, and I bet most modern men have. And this leads to no drive to do things that are hard, imbalanced hormones and neurotransmitters, low energy, and anxious. And why you feel like that? Because you have phone stimulation 24/7. You have things are very stimulating that gives you this big hit of dopamine. You get this high of dopamine, such as porn, video games, highly stimulating foods, caffeine abuse, refined carbs and seed oils. This destroys your hormones, neurotransmitters, your gut. Constant stress, which will tank your testosterone, which is needed for you to develop masculine features, for you to build muscle. Bad habits could be alcohol, going out, drinking, smoking, sleeping at 4 a.m. All of these things plays a big role on how you feel, especially on your dopamine baseline. All of these things are connected with your dopamine, your gut, your hormones, your neurotransmitters. And for example, when you have phone stimulation 24/7, when you are basically addicted, you want to scroll on your phone, on Reels, on TikTok, you are destroying your dopamine baseline. And what happens is that when you try to sit down, work, focus, you cannot, because this doesn't give you that high like scrolling or eating some junk food or playing video games. And this is what happens with a lot of guys, and they say, I'm not motivated to go to the gym, I'm not motivated to start a business, I want to be comfortable. And this is one of the reasons. And this leads to anxiety, low energy, because your hormones and neurotransmitters affects your energy levels, your motivation levels. If you're depressed, if you're happy, all of these things. So they're all interconnected. And how do you get your power back? There's 2 things here that I think are very important for you to get your power back. And it is fixing your mornings and fixing your nights. Let's start with the mornings. So the mornings, I'd call this cold morning. No phone, no dopamine. This is what I do. The first 3-4 hours of the day, I don't pick my phone. I don't use any social media. I sit down, I work. That's all I do the first 3-4 hours of the day. And what I've noticed is that I have more focus, I have more energy, mental power. I get less distracted. Compare it with when I wake up, I'm using my phone, I'm going to Instagram, answer some friend messages, watching some reels. All of these things takes your energy away, takes your focus away, and you are going to get very distracted. So what you should do when you wake up, no phone. Even if you don't work at home like me, I work at home. If you have to go to your job, your 9 to 5 or whatever, the first 3-4 hours, don't touch your phone. The moment you wake up and the moment you arrive at your job, don't touch your phone. And obvious, if you have to answer or call someone, of course, do it. But avoid using the phone as much as possible, and you'll see that your focus, your energy levels, your mental power, you will be better, and you will get distracted way less. And you'll see that your output and input will be better. High fat meals. This is key for stable energy, for focus, and brain power. The problem with when you eat too much carbs or sugars right in the morning is that your insulin will spike, and then 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later, it will tank. And what happens is that you have this crash of energy. You want to sleep. A lot of people have this problem. They wake up at 7, they eat at 9, at 10, they are sleepy. They need to have some sugar. They need to have some coffee to get their bodies awaken again because of this. So avoiding all carbs, all sugars right in the morning is one of the best things you can do for energy, focus, and also digestion. Because usually the carbs that people eat are oats, bread, some cereal, and these foods are not the best thing for your digestion. When you keep it clean, such as eggs, meat, some raw milk, this will keep your digestion pretty good. You'll have more energy, more focus, and you'll feel better. Then sunlight on eyes and skin. First thing in the morning when you wake up, try to get some sunlight. This will regulate your circadian rhythm, your neurotransmitters, and also your hormones. And this can make you feel good, more energy, more focus, all of these things that you really need in the morning. At least that's what I believe. In the morning is when you want to be the sharpest, mentally and physically. I'd recommend eating carbs in the morning only if you are going to exercise right away in the morning. And then hydration. Hydration is not just water. Hydration is fats, mineral, and water. Fats are very important to hydrate your whole body, your cells. Especially now during winter, you want more fats to keep your skin healthy. You don't want to have cracked lips or your skin peeling off. Minerals is what you want for hydration. Plain water will not do it, just will make you more dehydrated. Focus on having mineral-rich foods. Put some salt in the water, good quality salt. This will make you hydrated. Drinking something like raw milk will give you the nutrients, will give you the minerals, will keep you hydrated. Eating fats, egg yolks, all of these things will keep you hydrated, will give you the focus, the mental power that you need in the morning. And when you do these things, everything else in your day will be better. Your hormones will be better. You'll have less hunger. You'll have less cravings. Your insulin will be more stable, so you don't have these spikes and crashes. And when you have these spikes of insulin, you tend to have cravings, anxiety, and also produce more fat, have higher cortisol, all of these things that you don't want. And at night, going to bed at the same time every single day, you want to develop a bed routine. Deep sleep, dark and cool room. This will help with sleeping better, having a deeper sleep. Try to relax as much as possible at night. At night, I think is where you should be playing video games that relaxes you, watching a movie with your girlfriend, a series or whatever that you like to relax. This will put you in a parasympathetic state, which is a calm state, and this will allow you to recover from your workouts. Your nervous system will recover better. You'll feel better. You'll sleep better. All of these things. No meals 3 hours before bed. This because you don't want to eat and go right to bed because your digestion will not let you sleep. I've experimented with this a lot of times, and sometimes this happens with me. I'm working till late. I'm distracted. Then I say, oh, it's time to eat. And sometimes it's late and my sleep is not good. So 3 hours before bed, don't eat nothing. Magnesium-rich foods and carbs help with sleep. So your last meal, I believe, should be a magnesium-rich food. You have fish, chicken, ground pork, ribeye. These are examples, but there's a lot of other foods that are rich in magnesium. And one thing, don't eat canned foods. Don't eat canned tuna, eat fresh tuna always. Some carbs will help you sleep. Honey, fruits, raw milk, the carbs from raw milk or yogurt, kefir will also aid with sleep. For me, it works. Some of my clients, they have seen that they sleep better when they drink some raw milk with honey. This combination is good for sleep. So you could try it and check it out. So, and if you get these two things dialed in, you'll see that you'll have more energy, more power. Your physique starts to change, your body composition changes, you have more power in the gym because you're recovered properly, you have the nutrients, you're hydrated. All of these things are important. Your hormones, your neurotransmitters are things that people don't talk about a lot, but are very important on your journey of building muscle, getting stronger, getting healthier. Now, training, important if you want to get the physique and the strength, important. So I'd say 3-4 times a week of training is the best. Progressive overload every week, meaning you add more weight every single week. It doesn't need to be 10 kilograms, like 5 kilograms, 2 kilograms, 1 kilogram is enough. Or try to do more reps with the same weight. High frequency on exercise that you want to get the best. For example, you want to get strong at pull-ups, probably doing it 2-3 times a week would be best for faster progress. Prioritize recovery. This is one thing that I always talk about. Recovery first. You want to be recovered from session to session, especially from primary session to primary session. So eating well, sleeping well, having your days, your mornings and nights dialed in will help you with this. You don't need to push to the limits, aim for 1 to 2 reps in reserve. If you are not an athlete, you don't want to be an athlete, you don't want to be a bodybuilder, you don't want to be a Olympic lifter, power lifter or whatever, you don't need to be pushing to the limits. You don't need to do 2 hours to 4 hours of training like sometimes I do because I'm an athlete. And just keeping it 1-2 reps in reserve and making progressive overload slowly is all that you need, because you don't want to fry your nervous system. You want to keep your hormones in check, because too much will wreck your hormones, will wreck your neurotransmitters, will destroy your nervous system. And if you're a beginner and you don't know these things that well, sometimes you can do way too much and that will not benefit you in any way. You will not build more muscle because you're pushing to the limit every single session. And this may still sound confusing for some of you. So I'm going to leave a free training program and diet/food guide with meal ideas that I'd recommend, that I do, some of my clients do. It's not the same, it's just an idea for you to have an idea of what to eat for better hormones, for better digestion, for better health, a shopping list, everything there. And this training and on this training program, you don't need to do that. You just need to watch the videos, the tutorials, and this way you'll learn how to progress every week with the lifts, or you could follow it. Just do whatever you want, but I guarantee that you will learn something to apply into your training by watching tutorial videos. So what happens when you start doing this? Well, you start getting more energy, you make more progress. These are my clients. This client of mine in 2 months, this is transformation, why transformation 2 months, and he added almost 20 kilograms or around 40 pounds to his bench press in just 2 months, improving sleep. You can see here, before and after, how it improved his sleep, more energy throughout the day, so he can work 7 times a week, which is good. Losing body fat very fast. If you're someone who has a lot of weight, you will lose the fat pretty fast. You'll lose weight pretty fast if you apply these methods. Going from skinny guy to muscles, buff guy, from a skinny guy, 0 to a static body, and also the sleep. This is the screenshots of some of my clients. They have been having the best sleep ever, the best energy levels, the most recovery, the best digestion, everything. And if you're interested in this, go to the first link in the description. Let's work together and we'll apply these 4 pillars that I use, these 4 pillars of my work framework that will get you to a whole new level. This is not just a training program and nutrition plan, it's everything that you need to go to the next level. Also, I had the same transformation as you can see here. So yeah, first link in the description, book a free call. Let's work together. Everyone thinks that recovery is about supplements, pills, powders, and gadgets, but no. Recovery is all about your nervous system and hormones. And when you get these 2 things dialed in, you'll make faster progress and strength and muscle than ever before. You'll improve your sleep and motivation, which will make you make even more progress in terms of health, strength, and muscle building. And so you can have this transformation. You can go from this to this as fast as possible. By the way, this is what I teach in my coaching. All of these little things that will get your physique, your strength to a whole new level, improving your sleep, your digestion, your energy, and all of these internal systems that will take you to a whole new level that you've never seen before in terms of strength, health, and physique. It's basically turning you into a super soldier. So if you're interested, go in the first link in the description. You'll have every information that you need. And now, why supplements and gadgets don't work? Well, most recovery products fails because powders are denatured and hard to digest, so you don't absorb and utilize the minerals, the protein, or whatever is in it. And since you lack enzymes, the absorption and utilization of that mineral nutrient will be even higher and is not the same as you find in foods. What you find in powders and supplements is not the same that you find in food. Then, secondly, pills don't fix sleep, hormones, or stress. Gadgets treat symptoms, not the root cause. They add stimulation, not restoration. And also you have the EMF exposure from those gadgets that you put in your wrist to tell you your heart rate, your sleep, all of this, which is not a good thing. And this is very similar to the medical industry. They only treat the symptoms, never treat the root cause. They give you a short boost, but never rebuild the system. They never fix the root cause of low energy, bad digestion, poor recovery. And you get stuck in this loop for years to come. Now, what is the problem? Most men are stuck in sympathetic mode, fight or flight, low rest digestive state, and this is very bad for recovery. When you are in this fight or flight mode, you're very stiff. Your nervous system is very stressed, and you can never recover properly. You will be very tense. If you train hard, you probably have noticed this. When your body has accumulated a lot of stress, you get some strains here in your neck. It's hard to sleep. It's hard to turn your neck around because you have all of this stress accumulated in your body. And this has a lot to do with your nervous system, not only your muscles. And when you are in a low rest digest state, it's kind of your digestion closes because you're very stressed out and your body thinks that you are in a situation that you want to survive. So it closes digestion and gets your adrenaline up for you to survive. And this affects digestion. When you eat, you feel bloated. You cannot digest the food properly. It causes inflammation. Then you have low energy and you don't absorb the nutrients and you have poorer recovery. And also low testosterone, high cortisol, poor recovery hormones like growth hormone. Testosterone helps a lot with recovery, with healing, for you to heal your muscles, which is important. High cortisol will tank your testosterone and also will get your stress levels pretty high, which will not let you rest properly, will not let your nervous system recover properly. And poor recovery hormones like growth hormone is very essential for your joint recovery, which is very important for you to get as strong as possible and also build muscle as fast as possible. Then this will kill the strength, the muscle growth, sleep, motivation, sex drive, energy, and healing. And all of these things are basically the opposite of recovery, of strength, of vitality, of health. Now, what you have to do? First thing, sunlight and grounding. This is the easiest thing you can start implementing in your routine, in your life, to see some improvements in your nervous system and your hormones. This reset both nervous system and hormones by lowering stress hormones, increasing blood flow. When you have more blood flow, you'll put the nutrients going to the parts that need some healing. For example, you train biceps, the nutrients will go here and heal them faster. When you have lower stress, obviously you'll recover faster, you'll have more strength in the next session, you'll have a better output, you'll feel better, more energetic. Improving sleep quality, this is obvious. The better your sleep is, the more recovered you'll be, the more powerful you'll be, the more muscle you'll build. Boost your natural testosterone, again, for the healing factor, for the power in the gym, for the ability to build muscle faster. Regulating your circadian rhythm also is very important. Circadian rhythm is your internal clock. It regulates the wake and sleep cycles. And when your sleep and wake cycles are deregulated, you may wake up tired. Even if you had 8 hours of sleep, you will wake up tired and be groggy all day, or be at night and you cannot sleep. And this is awful for your recovery. By doing these things, 10-20 minutes is enough to change your recovery instantly. Now that is winter, it's harder for you to get as much sun depending on the country that you live, but grounding is something that you can do. Well, it's harder if you live in a big city, but you still can do it. So that's why I'm gonna leave a free guide, shopping list, foods that I eat, that my clients eat, that will help you get started, will help you recover faster, build more muscle, have more energy, better digestion. Will be in the second link in the description. You just have to download it, put your email, and you get it for free. So sunlight and grounding, very important. Try to get it as much as possible, especially in the winter. Now, raw fats. Raw fats is very important because it stabilizes the blood sugar. Your blood sugar being stabilized throughout the day is very important for your energy levels, to regulate your neurotransmitters, which will not let you have cravings for food that you should not be eating, for you to have the most mental power, for you not to have high cortisol or being stressed, which is very important. Feeding your brain essential fats will give you more brain power. Your nervous system, it will feed your nervous system so it can recover faster. Our cells are made of fat, so we need cholesterol, we need the fats for the maximum recovery. It lowers cortisol, which is important too. You don't want to be stressed all the time, or almost never. It triggers calming neurotransmitters, like I said. It makes you at ease. Your neurotransmitters are responsible for anxiety levels, your motivation levels, hunger levels, all of these things, which are important, which are crucial for you to have energy to recover. Because if you're stressed all the time, if you have cravings, you're anxious, all of these things will affect your recovery. And this will make a big difference. So eating fats are crucial here. Supporting testosterone production, like I said, healing and all of that. Binding toxins, also very important. Raw fats have the ability to bind the toxins in the body, and later on your body can expel it. The difference of raw fats and pasteurized fats or cooked fats is that raw fats are basically intact, and our bodies recognize it better than when it's cooked. And when it's cooked, it expands, it gets altered, it loses some enzymes, it loses the vitamins, it loses the nutrients, the minerals that our body needs, and we have harder time utilizing it. And also it lubricates our joints, making them more resistant to injuries. It makes them better. So things like butter, raw milk, coconut cream, avocados, egg yolks, all of these are a very good source of raw fats. Then warm exposure. This is very important. A lot of athletes, Olympic athletes, powerlifters, elite athletes overall, do some warm exposure. This improves circulation, which is very essential because, again, when you have better circulation, the nutrients will go to the areas that need to heal. Secondly, lower stress hormones, again, which will make you be in this calm state. Support deeper sleep, resets central nervous system, helps testosterone production, short, natural, and very effective. If you live in Japan, you have this onsen, which is very good for recovery. It's water rich in minerals that will help you relax and all of these things. But if you don't, you can do hot baths with good quality salt, raw milk in the water, and sit there for a few minutes to absorb the nutrients, to relax your body. And all of these things are things that I teach in my coaching. So if you're interested, go in the first link in the description and you'll know more about my coaching. Slow evenings. This is very important. Hormone-friendly nights will equal better recovery. Dim lights, no stimulants, warm shower, light raw fat snack, and deep breathing. Your night routine determines your recovery more than any protein shake. True. This is a good example, using red lights at night. This will make you produce more melatonin or not let your melatonin get destroyed by the blue lights. And finally, what are the results of this? Well, your strength increases, your testosterone rises, muscle feels fuller, sleep improves, inflammation drops, energy stabilizes, burnouts disappear. You recover like someone on PDs, but naturally. And this is one of some of my clients' examples. They're getting more energy, they're sleeping better, hear improvement on sleep, and they get stronger by fixing these things. In just 2 months, He had almost 20 kilograms to his bench press and his body completely changed. And this is one of the things that are in my coaching. All these recovery methods that will make you have more energy, more power at the gym, and make progress faster than ever before. And if you want to make fast results, and if you want to improve your recovery, your health, your energy, your digestion, and take your physique and strength to a whole new level that you've never had before, you can go in the first link in the description, book a free call. Let's see if we can work together.